Hi, my name is Trisha, and I'll be doing my presentation on the film Gone Girl. So, a little bit about the film. It was directed by David Fincher in 2014, and it's based on the novel written by Gillian Flynn, who actually also wrote the screenplay for the movie. And then the genre for the film is kind of a mix of mystery, thriller, neo noir, and satire. So, for a little summary of the movie, the two main characters that were introduced in the movie are Nick, who's a writing teacher, and his wife, Amy. And the movie opens up with Nick kind of venting to his sister about his and Amy's marriage. Things kind of haven't been going good. Some of the issues were that they both lost their jobs in the recession, so they had to move back home to Nick's place in Missouri. And also, Nick has been having an affair with one of his students, Andy. And in the beginning of this movie, it's Nick and Amy's fifth wedding anniversary. And um, usually they celebrate by doing like a little treasure hunt where Amy leaves behind clues. But instead of that, Nick decided he was going to come home and propose a divorce to Amy on that day. However, this never even got to happen because instead of a treasure hunt, instead of Nick trying to divorce Amy, Amy was missing. And this was kind of a big deal because Amy's parents wrote a very popular children's series called Amazing Amy, and it was based on Amy. So when she was gone, it kind of caught the attention of the media. And when she disappeared, instead of having their little treasure hunt, she left behind some clues. And one of the clues was a diary that she had been writing in. And it was filled with a lot of fearful entries, actually, that made it seem as if Amy thought Nick was plotting to kill her, that he was abusing her, things like that. And she had written all of these in hopes that she could frame him for murder and he would be punished with Missouri's death penalty. And eventually, Nick kind of caught on and he found this out. And um, one other thing that Amy had done was that she befriended their neighbor who was pregnant, and she wanted to convince the neighbor that Nick was abusing her and that he was plotting to kill her. And she also wanted to use the neighbor's pregnancy tests to fake a pregnancy. So during this time that Amy had been missing, she was hiding at a campground in the Ozarks, but her neighbors stole her money and she was left with nothing. So she phoned her ex boyfriend, Desi Collins, and asked if she could stay with him. And after finding out that Nick was on TV trying to like lure her to come back since Nick knew what was going on, he was saying like he'll care for her, he'll change, he loves her, he wants her back home. She fell for it and she was like, wow, like I want to go back home to Nick. And so she started to frame Collins for rape and kidnapping her, and then she killed him at night in bed. And then Amy went back home to Nick and she told him that she wants to be with him. And she also told him the truth of what happened, of how she killed Desi. And he was mortified, but she also told him that she was pregnant with his child. So he was left with no choice but to stay with her. And so the movie ended with Amy and Nick appearing on TV to announce that she's back and that she was pregnant with his kid. So, some of the main themes and points that I wanted to talk about, I'll start out with a couple smaller ones, and then the third one is like the main theme of the movie. So, first, manipulation. Throughout the whole movie, Amy was leaving behind fake clues from befriending her pregnant neighbor to going back to her ex boyfriend to writing all of those diary entries. It's very clear that everything she does has a motive and she's presenting herself in a manner to other people so that they'll go with whatever she wants and indirectly help her plan this whole scheme that she's got going on. She's manipulating everyone that she comes in contact with, even at the end when she becomes pregnant just so that Nick wouldn't out her to the public of what she did. And then another theme is kind of like a mix of misogyny and feminism. So throughout the movie, Amy is painted out to be this like stereotypical crazy wife or ex-girlfriend who's emotionally out of control and a psychopath. And she's super cunning, manipulative, and strong at the same time, though. So it makes Nick and the audience as well fear her, but it also kind of shows how she's in a position of power. And so for the third theme that I wanted to talk about was the imperfect desire for perfection that Amy had throughout the movie. When she was little, her parents wrote that series, Amazing Amy, based off of her life. They would take whatever she did wrong, all of her mistakes, and turn them into this perfect little girl and write stories about her that other kids reading the book should follow. So she was kind of already upheld to that idea of perfectionism from a young age. And then when Nick was having an affair with this young, beautiful girl, um, it was kind of like a parallel how Amy wasn't perfect enough for him and he was going to someone else. And then at the same time, Nick wasn't perfect either. Nick was making all these mistakes and she didn't realize that she wanted to come back until Nick showed that he would prove that he could be the perfect idea of what she wanted in a husband. And then she went back to him. And then the last thing is that at the end, when they appeared in the media to show that they were happy together, they would be having a child, it was all fake. They had a mask of perfection. Amy was a murderer and Nick was scared of her, but they were staying together just for the idea of trying to have a good marriage for their child, trying to mask perfection. And so that's all I had to say about this. Thank you for watching.